You're listening to the Woanderers podcast, episode 4. Take an Indian coming from a city with 5.5 million inhabitants and drop him off in Pitești. You're going to get a deliciously interesting story. And that is what happened to Abhishek Pandey, or Panda for short. In 2014, Romania creeped up on him as a volunteering opportunity. And even though the destination wasn't meticulously planned in Panda's journey, he cherishes each and every moment of it to this day. The experience marked him in ways he could have never imagined. From getting fat on delicious Christmas food to generous acts of kindness from Romanian strangers being pointed at him left and right. We hope you enjoy listening to Panda's funny culture shocks and adventures in this special holiday episode. Enjoy! Hey Panda.
Hi Daniela, how are you doing?
I am very happy to host this interview. How about you? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm great. Just a little tired, but I'm really glad and excited to be part of this interview.
Cool. So let's start from the beginning. What year did you come the first time to Romania?
It was 2014 summer.
And let's try to go back to that time in space. It's 2014.
Yeah.
You just decided to head over to Romania, this new country that I don't know if you actually heard about Romania before.
Actually, I did hear about Romania before.
How?
Actually, on the TV, in India, we used to have like these Romanian tourism ads.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's very famous because they have these ads about tourism. They show some pictures, from Sibiu, from Brașov, also from Transfăgărășan, for example, and from Bucharest, of course. So, yeah, of course, I knew about Romania, and I did pay attention in my geography classes back in school. So
they actually teach about Romania.
No, they don't. They don't teach about Romania, but it's just the geography,
of the world.
Of the world, and then we also get like a small glimpse of world history during our history lessons.
I see.
So we just, like in India, when it comes to history, we just don't study about Indian history, but we do study about world history. So we get a small glimpse of every part of the world. So, we are not completely blanked out, we don't know anything about the world apart from India. So
cool. So you already heard about Romania from these touristical ads that you saw on TV.
Yeah.
And you were preparing to get on board your plane and to go into this wild, unexpected experience. What were your thoughts when you were on the plane, when you were heading to this new destination?
Oh, I was like, let's do it. I was a little nervous, I have to say, because I was like really young back then. I was like 18 years old, and yeah, it was a bit stressful, but in a very good way, because I was like super excited.
What was making you excited / stressful?
Stressful was just the fact, I don't know anyone. I'm traveling there. It's happening, and excited about meeting all those people because we already had this group of all the volunteers on Facebook. So just talking to them, and I was super excited to meet them. And yeah, this is these were the things that were going on in my head. And that's all actually. I didn't think much. I was just in this mode of, what? It's high time and I have to do it.
Amazing. And what was the context of you arriving to Romania? You came through a volunteering project, right?
Yeah.
Tell us more about it.
Okay. So you want to know? I went to Romania with Isaac back in 2014, and I went on a project called Grow to volunteer, and I was working with high school students. Well, it was a pretty amazing experience because I was so amazed by meeting all those young students because they were so nice, and everybody. I didn't the best thing that I loved about Romania was the fact that I never felt any kind of barrier. There was no language barrier. There was no, because a lot of people, they tend to be shy and they are afraid of, they will make mistakes and they don't want to speak. But I never felt that, and that was just amazing. I was really, especially I was in a small city like Pitești, and so it was even more surprising for me.
Although Pitești, I wouldn't put it as a really small city, but I do understand. It's not in the top 5.
I mean, I'm talking from my Indian perspective, you know.
Of course.
Yeah, because in my hometown there are like 5 million people, 5.5 million people. Lucknow is my hometown, and there are 5.5 million people there. And then I went to Pitesh, which has like 100,000 or 150,000 people. So that's like, that's a little small for me.
It's definitely more intimate, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was amazing for me, like how. I mean, okay, my skin color plays a very big role. Like, I went in a shop and they will never forget this brown guy, saying "mulțumesc" to them. So, but still, it was just amazing, like being there and spending those time with the people, and even meeting people in the shops or even in like restaurants. They were like so polite, and even like me just saying like some simple words in Romanian made them so happy. So which is I think I couldn't even ask for anything more.
That's something that Romanians are definitely known for, this appreciation for when an international speaks their language.
Oh, big time, big time. Like I really felt appreciated, and I really appreciated their appreciation.
It's something very special and very mutual.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and just for our audience, maybe you can tell us a bit about the organization that you came with, because I'm not sure if everybody knows who ISEC is and what they do.
ISEC is a student organization, and they organize like volunteering programs and other different kind of programs, like for example, like paid internships and stuff like that. But mostly their biggest product is the volunteering program, and you get an opportunity, to travel to different countries. For example, I traveled to Romania, and you can travel to different countries and spend like about 6 weeks there, and working on a different kind of project. Like there are various kind of projects that you can like find and as you like, because there's a big choice that you can choose from. Like for example, one of mine was like about education, and it was more about self-development and motivation and what you want to achieve further in your career, like for young students. And there are like other projects like you can work related to environment or health issues and etc.
And how did you end up picking Romania as your destination? Because as you say, I'm pretty sure that you had a variety of options in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, I did have a lot of options, and actually, to be very honest, I mean, even though I'm right now, I feel like that I'm in 2014. I'm sitting in my dorm room when I was like applying for projects. I didn't know why Romania. Like seriously, I didn't have an answer for this. It was just I got this. I saw this project grow, and I applied for it, and I read the description and the job profile and stuff, like what I was supposed to do, and I liked it. And I didn't even care if it's in Romania or if it's in Germany or whatever. I got accepted for the project after the interview, so I was like, well, I guess I'm going to Romania this summer. So that was all. I didn't think anything. Like I didn't. I mean, to be very honest, Daniela, like I didn't even Google Romania. To be honest,
You just went for it.
I just went for it. Yeah, I was like, well, you know what? Whatever. I'm gonna find out when I get there.
And the funny thing is that now, years afterwards, you call Romania your second home. You feel like it's your second home.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the only thing that I Googled about Romania was the flights, like how to get there. Like seriously, just how to get there.
The rest, you just went with the flow.
Yeah, rest I was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna handle it.
And now that you look back at your Romanian experience, what makes it so homey?
The people make it better. I mean, I don't really care about if the place has a lot of touristic spots or not, because I'm not a tourist. I'm not really into going to all these fancy places, taking a selfie or taking a picture in front of it, and it doesn't. Yeah, it shows that okay, yeah, you have been there, but on the long run, it doesn't prove anything.
Although, did you go to Dracula's castle?
Yeah, I did. I did go to Dracula Castle, and let me tell you a funny thing. I don't have a picture with it. I do have a picture of the Dracula Castle, but I don't have a picture with it like most of the tourists.
That is so unorthodox of you.
I mean, I was just, the whole time I was in Romania and the places that I went to see. Okay, maybe I'm not really that kind of a guy like who likes to take a lot of pictures of himself. I prefer to just take pictures of the places because it's just me and this is just who I am. Because lately, like I'm pretty sure you're aware, like so many people they just have this trend of showing off, on their Instagram, on this other social media platforms. They think that the more pictures they have in front of the monuments, they are the more important or more famous they are among their friend circle. But I think completely in a different way.
That is exactly why I asked you about Dracula's castle, because a lot of people get stuck on visiting just the famous monuments without even necessarily looking into the history of the place.
After I visited Dracula Castle, I intensely like Googled all about it and I read like the history. So now I know why, I know the history of Vlad the Tepesh and with Ottoman Empire and stuff like that. So
Hundreds of years of history.
yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, going to places is much more than just taking picture in front of it. I mean, I take the picture of the place to memorize it for myself. When I look at those pictures, I know that I was there. I don't need to prove it to anyone. I know I was there, and that's good enough for me. I don't need to prove it to people. It's up to them. I can't control everybody like what they think or what they don't think. It's up to them. It's their life, their choices.
And coming back to Pitești, because obviously, if we are talking about seeing touristical attractions in Romania, Pitești would not necessarily go into top 10. Maybe with the Pitești experiment, but I don't think that most people know what that is, and I don't think that most people come to Romania to visit specifically a communist prison from back in the 50s where atrocious experiments happened.
Actually, I never went to that place, to be honest. I was in Trevale Forest, for example. Like they have this forest in Pitești, and it's really amazing. It's really beautiful. It's like so relaxing. And then when you go further down in deep in the forest, like there's like this flat ground. We made so many barbecues there. Oh my god!
Did you have the mandatory meat and beer?
Of course, we had meat. We had timișorena. We had carnats. Oh yeah.
You need to explain to the audience what meat are, because obviously this is something that is very ingrained in the Romanian spirit.
So meat is like, I think in Daniela it's a mix of meat, right? It's like small meat pieces. It's like minced meat of different kind. I think beef and pork, I believe.
Yeah.
And they're like minced and then they're rolled into small pieces and then you just grill them and they're just so tasty. It brings water to my mouth. Oh my god, why are we talking about food?
They're also heavily unhealthy, but that is beside the point.
Yeah, that's beside the point. And carnats is a standard sausage, so I think everybody understands what sausages are.
It also depends how people make them. You have different styles of sausages, smoked or non-smoked, fresh.
Exactly.
And how was your stay in Pitești? Tell us more about how you got there, your first impression of the place, how you got integrated in just the lifestyle that was there.
Okay, so like I arrived in Bucharest with my flight, of course, and I was picked up by two people from Bucharest, from Isaac Pitești in Bucharest, and then we took a bus from. I forgot the name of this bus station in Bucharest, but anyways, and then we got on the bus to Pitești, and I realized by looking at the size of the bus, I mean, I didn't want it to be judgmental, but these were just my initial thoughts, And by looking at the size of the bus, I was like, oh, I guess I'm going to a small town, it was just me. Like I was just thinking about it from this very Indian point of view and comparing the sizes. I mean, it was like really stupid of me to do that, but it was nothing judgmental. But this was just my initial first thoughts, Then we get there, and then we on the bus and stuff, and then we get to the bus station, the bus station said a lot because it was not really I couldn't call it a bus station.
How would you define it then?
Small. small. That's all I have to say. And I was like, okay, fine, because it was like such a small bus station. It was not even a proper bus station because it was just right next to the railway station, and there was like a parking for cars and for buses, and that's where the bus dropped me. I was like, okay, fine, good enough. And then I looked around, and it was like a Friday evening, And I remember it was Friday evening, and it was completely empty, Daniela. Like the city was empty, like around 5, 6 p.m.
How did that make you feel?
I was like, okay,
This is not a party city, guys.
Yeah. I mean, it was not even about the party city, but it was more like, okay, this is an empty town, I mean, not even an empty town, but it was like, okay, this is a small town, but it's like 5, 6 p.m. and it's a Friday and it's empty. But actually my view changed because then we went to the place where I was supposed to stay with the other interns, the volunteers. And we were like 10 of us were already there, and then some people from our side, they took us to the center. And then there was like more people. Then I was like, okay, I'm in Europe. Everything is happening in the center, And then they took us to some bar. We had like beer. And then there were like a lot of people. Then they took us to some like a club or something. And there were like more people, especially students. Oh my God, so many students in that town.
How is the nightlife in Pitești?
There's not much to say about it. It's fine. I mean, it's, I wouldn't compare it to Bucharest, for example, or to the city that I'm living currently now in Krakow. It's definitely not like that. But it's manageable. If you have a good company, anything becomes good,
And that's something that you developed quite a lot during your stay in Pitești, a network of friends, new connections.
Exactly. So I think it's all about it because I realized there, like after coming to Pitești and spending some time there, I realized that, it doesn't matter if city is big or small or whatsoever. It's all about the people you are with, and people make it better.
How did you make friends in Pitești?
Okay, my majority of friends that I know from Pitești are like people from ISEC or the people or those students that I was giving lessons to. So they are like my majority of friends. And of course the interns, like the volunteers who were with me.
And how did you become friends?
Well, with ISEC people, of course, through integrations, we had like these main meetings and small trainings. So we became friends, of course, through that. Like, okay, yeah, we meet. And of course, they know that we are the volunteers. We don't know anyone here. So they have to talk to us and become friends with us and show us around. And then we started lessons with the students. And then, yeah, we started to talk. And they were like so eager, especially like the young ones. Even though they're 16, they're like, hey, Abhishek, let's go for a beer. So, I mean, it was like easy for me to integrate with them because we didn't have like much of an age, this generation gap because I was like 18 and they were like 17, And you won't believe, I had some students who were 18 and I was 18 as well. And in one of my lessons, I think one of the groups that I had, there were students who were older than me.
Very interesting.
Yeah, they were like 19 and I was still 18. Can you believe that? That was hilarious for me.
So maybe you can tell us about the context of these trainings. So you basically had to go into a school, right?
Actually, no, we didn't have to go to a school. Actually, in University of Pitești, so the ISEC Pitești, like they reserved some room for people from Grove, for the volunteers. And the students, they used to come to us.
So these would be students from the University of Pitești?
No. They were students from high school.
Ah.
Yeah. So they were like students from high school. They were like coming to us and we have like a schedule, like an agenda, what we're going to do today, like this activity, that activity. Okay, we're going to discuss today about motivation. Tomorrow we're going to discuss about your plans for the future, what you want to do, what's your plan of action, what's your goals and life goals and stuff like that.
And how did you perceive these Romanian students? Like, how did you feel them? Were they eager to learn? How do they feel about their future?
To be very honest, I just felt like one of them. And I really understood them because, let's be honest, Daniela, all of us have been in the shoes of those kids.
We were all kids once, yes. Some of us are still kids.
Yeah, we are still kids. But, I mean, I really understood them. If some of them, like, they didn't know what they wanted to do. Because I was there. There was a point that I just didn't know what I wanted in my life and what I wanted to do. But there were, like, some of them, they were, like, super eager. Like, they just knew what they want. They have, like, all plan of actions. Yeah, they want to go to study medicine or they want to go to study journalism or economics. It was like very well, let's say, a good proportion of everything. So it was nothing of, it was like not too much of one thing, So there was something that there was always like someone that I could relate to. I mean, I was like really happy to like meet some like young students, like 17-year-old, and they have their life after university planned out.
How did they present Romania and the culture to you? How did they take you on this journey?
First of all, as like general, they took me to, you need to try Trika, you need to try Palinka if you want to get in together with us.
Alcohol always bonds.
So I mean, they like some students, like they brought me some homemade alcohol, for example, Palinka or Trika, from their home, from their grandparents.
How was that experience?
Oh, tough. Tough. Very tough. I was not used to such hard alcohol. And then, some students, like, because when you're working with some people for 6 weeks, for example, and, you develop a bond with them because, they spend a lot of time with you. They come to meet you after the classes because they want to know more about me, my country, and about me in general. And they take you to, hey, let's go out with my friends, let's do barbecue. And I was also invited to Christmas and Easter in Romanian families. And I think this is how I was like welcomed. And I felt very welcomed because, I understand the fact that, Christmas and Easter is like strictly family celebrations, Not a lot of people invite like some outsider.
But you didn't feel like an outsider.
Oh, no, I did not. I mean, because, for example, one of my friends, Alexandra, she told her grandma about me, and I visited her once during my internship, and then and I told her like, oh yeah, I like sarmale, and she was like so happy that I'm coming for Easter, and she was like, oh yeah, Abhishek is coming, I have to make sarmale for him. By the way, guys, who don't know what sarmale is a very traditional Romanian dish. I absolutely recommend it, 10 out of 10, and it's a must with sour cream.
I wanted to ask, with or without sour cream? This is an important division.
Oh, of course, with sour cream. Come on, Daniela.
Hey, some people have different tastes.
Yeah, but I can't be more unorthodox now, Yeah, so yeah, sour cream. Yeah, it's the best thing. So I was saying it was really amazing for me because I got to see like a very traditional Christmas, which was amazing because I never thought that I would see something like this.
Tell us more about the Christmas that you spent in Romania.
Just for me, it was amazing to be there, to be part of that. And I felt so privileged. And I don't know, I don't have words to describe it.
Did you go caroling on Christmas?
No, I did not actually.
Did you see carolers?
Yeah, I saw them. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, I did. As you said, like this whole experience was so vivid, and there was like so much contrast. It's like so hard to put everything in words. I mean, I just feel like, oh, I wish I just could go back to 2014 and 15.
Just for the sarmale.
Yeah, yeah, just for the sarmale or just for the experience in general. The time that I had there in the country, even in a city like Pitești, it was just amazing, like how welcoming and warm people were, and they were just like absolutely curious about me and not afraid or having any like ill thoughts about me or any hostile thoughts about me. So which was really amazing. I mean, I wouldn't be so surprised if I was in one of the big cities, like Bucharest, Brașov, or Sibiu, or Cluj, for example, because those people are more used to seeing foreigners, but not in Pitești. I wouldn't say that like they would. I mean, okay, maybe with the students because a lot of people go to study and stuff, and times are changing, but back in 2014, there were like not so many people.
Yeah, that was something that I wanted to ask you about because we Romanians are known for having a stronger traditional side to our culture, which means that sometimes some people do have this hyper-nationalistic view about themselves and about the world, and they do display xenophobia, right? So did you ever feel this us versus you kind of mentality?
No, never actually. I mean, I've been to Romania 3 times and I spent a lot of time there. And in all these 3 times, I never had any experience where I was just treated unfairly just because I'm brown or I'm from India or something like this. Never. Like, seriously, never.
Would you say that people were more curious about you and your background?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even if they were not curious, they just didn't care, which is fair enough. Which is just fair enough. They just mind their own business rather than trying to interrupt into somebody's day-to-day life. Because if they were like, for example, if they were racist towards me, it would just make a bad opinion about them in my head. Probably I wouldn't be so, let's say, curious or thinking about going back to Romania.
That's something that I do appreciate about Romanian people, or at least the tendency of Romanian people. For example, this idea of being somewhat open. Maybe they are not open in the traditional diplomatic ways, but they do have their very honest and very sincere way of just being, I don't know you, but that doesn't mean that I cannot share my food with you. That doesn't mean that I cannot share my tsika with you as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all about how you present yourself. I mean, it says a lot, even if it's a small thing, like very small thing. It says a lot, like the way you present yourself.
Did you have any experiences, maybe even from Pitești, that confirmed this kind of openness, but beyond the what would be expected or what is usual for people? Because especially in Pitești, at least in 2014, I'm very sure that there were less English speakers than there are now, for example.
Yeah, definitely. That's true. There were like not many people spoke English. I mean, I'm not talking about the students or the ISEC people, but just in general.
People from shops, people from the market, people that you needed to somewhat interact with, for example.
Yeah, they didn't speak English. And actually, to be very honest, I didn't feel any gap, with them because it's fine if they don't speak English. I mean, it's completely fine. So, for example, like one of the experiences with Romanian with a Romanian grandma, Bunica, for example, the best. So actually, on my way to the university where we were giving lessons, so there was like this very small bakery, and there were like I think 2 or 3 grandmas. They were like just serving some pastries and some croissant and some this thing.
Is it kovrig?
Yeah. And so I was like, they were just like, they had like small, they had like a very small bakery and they just used to sell these things, like 4 or 5 items. So before I go to the university, like I was like always getting like some pastry. It was filled with mushroom or with some meat or something, and it was like super like tasty. So I just used to buy it every day for almost a month and something. And then one of the old ladies, like she was so sweet because every time I'm passing by and I'm just going to pay her or something, and she was giving me for free at least once a week. She was giving me the pretzel or some pastry with mushroom or something for free. I mean, I wanted to pay her. Like, of course. I mean, I don't want something, for free from her because, come on, she's working hard and it's not like some big shop, that they are making so much money that I wouldn't feel bad about it. But no matter how hard I try, she never took money from me at least once a week.
And I'm assuming that the conversation was not necessarily in English.
Oh, definitely not. It definitely not. It was not in English. No. So one day, actually, I was like really curious about it, and I asked one of the students to go with me to ask like her like why she doesn't take money from me. So she told to my friend that hey, that she doesn't take money because she's so happy that I'm in this small town, and she's so happy that I buy from her shop every day. So she feels obliged to honor me as her regular customer. And I was like, oh my god. that was crazy for me.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. So she just feels, and she's so happy that I'm like her first foreign customer, like an exotic one or something like that. So, her point of view and the way she thought about me was out of curiosity. Like she was curious about me. She didn't hold herself back, that, oh yeah, I'm old and I lived in bad times, so I can be judgmental towards everyone. No, she took a step ahead of it. She thought more like, young people, and she was just curious about me and wanted to know me and stuff. And she said to my friend that she wanted to ask my name, but she didn't knew how to say it in English, of course, and she didn't knew that if I would understand Romanian. So I felt like that was one of the times that I felt like, oh man, I should know some Romanian. You know what I mean?
Did you learn some Romanian?
Yeah, I did a little, over the time. I learned some Romanian. I learned how to count, how number of days, and some basic things to get me through the country.
What are some words or phrases that you would recommend to other internationals for them to learn? What do you think would be useful for them to know?
First of all, you should know how to say hello, which is bună. And you should also know how to say good, which is bine. You should know how to say thank you, mulțumesc. Or you can also say mercy. It's like very common in Romania.
I think it would be easier. It's usually easier for internationals to say merci than to say mulțumesc.
Yeah, exactly. And you should also know how to say you're welcome, which is cu plăcere. And one of the confusing things, if a Romanian tells you hi, it means let's go. That person is not saying hi to you. That person is asking you to let's go. Because I was very confused about it. Because one person, there were like bunch of people and I was with some group of students in something. So this one guy, he said like, hi. And I was like, and I waved my hand towards him. I thought that he's saying hello to me. But actually, he was asking us to let's go.
Surprise!
So I was like, okay. I felt like an idiot, but that's fine. I think, I think that's, I'm excused for that.
Goes with the experience.
Yeah. That's the way to learn,
Did you have a conversation in Romanian up until this point?
I think, nothing significant, just some simple things, I write to some of my Romanian friends, like, Puna, and they're like, ce faci, mă? Like, ce faci means is like, how are you? And they're like, bine, and they ask me like, tu ce faci? Yeah, bine, and well, yeah, and then we switch back to English. I mean, I went too far with my Romanian, I was like on the brim of, overflowing with my Romanian. So like, okay, it's time to go back to English.
But I also think that people appreciated the effort every time, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. They loved it. They loved the fact that I could just say even these things, so which is just amazing.
And for example, you mentioned the whole experience with the old lady in Pitești who was offering you pastry from time to time. Do you have any other experiences, like one or two, that you feel encapsulate the Romanian spirit?
I mean, apart from that, is like the fact that I was invited not to one home, but to like 3 homes for Easter, I went to all those 3 homes.
Did you get fat?
Yeah, I did gain some weight, I guess, in Romania. I don't remember how much exactly, but I did gain some weight because for example, in India, we don't eat so much meat as you do here in Europe. For example, my family is vegetarian, so we never eat meat at home. I do eat meat, but I usually just outside, and that's like maybe once in 2 weeks or something like that. But in Romania, like I was eating meat almost every day.
You have salami for breakfast.
Yeah, salami for breakfast, for example, yeah. And it's just not like chicken. Like, for example, you eat a lot of pork, and pork is a very heavy meat. There's a lot of fat in it. So yeah, I did gain some weight in Romania, I believe.
Well, that goes with the holiday spirit.
Yeah, with the holiday spirit, and the grandma is there, and she's like, eat more. You're so thin. I'm like, yeah, grandma, give me a break.
It is the Eastern European spirit, I would say. And for example, if you think about the holidays, what is the biggest difference between Christmas in Romania and Christmas in India? Like the Christmas time, the winter time.
Okay, so the winter in Romania is extreme winter.
What do you mean?
I mean the temperature-wise, like it's really cold. And in India, at least in my part of India, for example, in the northern India, it's cold. It gets cold during December, January, February. It's like 0 degrees or so. But that's not much for Romania, when there's temperature -10,
0 is standard.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine. So so the winter is very different from Romania comparing to India. But when it comes to Christmas, because in India we have a lot of Christians, they're Catholics. So if you think about the traditions and the way to celebrate it, it's very similar. like very similar. I mean, traditions, they don't change, it doesn't like Jesus doesn't change from Romania to India. He's still the same Jesus. The story is the same. The legend is the same. And the way they celebrate is the same. The one thing that changes is the food.
And I think also the traditions around the celebration itself.
Yeah, I mean, if you really dig deep into it, yeah, you will definitely find like some major differences. But if you look more on the bigger picture, like more on a standard version, it's quite similar.
But I don't think that in India you have the dancing bears.
Oh, of course, no. That's of course no. I mean, of course, that's what I said. If you dig deep into the traditions and way of celebration, yes, you will definitely find a lot of differences and the things that how the things are done. But on the more bigger picture, it's more or less the same. And for example, like I saw dancing bears. I was on YouTube. I didn't get an opportunity to see them in person, even though I really wanted to, but I just couldn't.
You need to come next Christmas to Romania.
Yeah, Christmas is coming, Daniela. It's coming. Actually, I was just thinking about it. I was talking to a friend of mine like yesterday. She's from Pitești, but she lives in Bucharest now. And I was just thinking about it. Maybe I want to visit them for Christmas. Because she said, yeah, Panda, you are invited to my home for Christmas, and which is amazing. For me, even though I haven't seen them in 4 years. I haven't seen those people in 4 years. And they still asked me to come and join, which is just absolutely fantastic.
It is very heartwarming.
Yeah. I mean, what I was saying is even for example, I'm living in Poland for 2 years, and I know a lot of people, and I had 2 Christmases here, and I had 2 Easters here, and I was never invited to any.
We are talking about different cultures.
Yeah, and I think that says a lot about Romanian people itself. So yeah, this is one thing that I really, really appreciate about Romanian people. Even though if I can't join them or something, their invitation is just the fact that they actually thought about me being there. It's amazing.
And since you talked about the experiences that are more heartwarming about the people, is there anything that you experienced or you saw that you feel could be improved about the country or the culture?
On the funny side, I think it's time for Romania to up their game in the trains and the buses. Like, really, Romania, you need to improve your game on it.
Why? What is the status quo?
Oh my God, they're so slow. I can't believe it. I mean, by the way, I know that now you have the Flixbus, so things are changing,
But that doesn't mean that you have them in all of the cities or all of the little villages, for example.
Yeah, but I'm talking from more of let's say a foreigner point of view. So my main objective is to get from point A to point B, which are usually big cities. If I was Romanian, I would think it in a different way, because of course I would like to go to my grandma in the village or this family, because hey, everybody doesn't come from a city, People come from small towns, people come from small villages, so they will definitely like to have a better connectivity with their towns or villages. But what I'm saying is from a foreigner's point of view, because a foreigner, for example, wouldn't be visiting Pitești, for example, or wouldn't be visiting Ploiești or Cumpulung or like small towns. So they would be more concerned about getting from Bucharest to Cluj or to Brașov or to Sibiu or Iași or to Timișoara. And so they would like to have a better connectivity, which was definitely not there back in 2014. Even in 15 was the same. But I hope things are changing now. Probably you know it better.
I would not say that is changing, sadly. One thing that is changing, at least I think in the last years, has improved was that there are more trains.
Yeah, and the free trains for students.
Now I think the government retracted the decision for the students to have this opportunity to travel for free. As far as I remember, that is something that people are currently protesting about. And when I mean people, I mean students. Yeah, when we talk about politics in Romania, you really need to be kept up to date because there's always something happening.
I did. Dracula Castle.
Even you know about Dracula and PSD. I mean, maybe you can explain what that is about.
In a very simple way to say it, they were not the good party for Romania.
Is this an opinion that you got?
From Romanians. It's not my opinion, because I have one of my really good friends here in Poland is a Romanian guy, and him and I met a lot of other Romanians here in Krakow, and they all had the same point of view about Dragnea and PSD, like literally the same point of view, that he sucks.
Dragnea being one of the ex-leaders of the Socialist Democrat Party.
I mean, I also learned, if you don't mind, Daniela, I also learned how to say "muie PSD."
Oh,
I think I already won like a heart of every single Romanian by this.
Minus the people who are voting for PSD, I'm pretty sure that because it has been quite a movement in the past, and especially in the last elections.
Yeah.
But the political situation of Romania right now, I think it's just as complicated as those in the rest of Eastern Europe, at least. It just has a different flavor to it, because we are not talking about situations like Orban in Hungary, or what's happening in Poland, for example.
I mean, even though I'm not like connected to Hungarian, I mean, it's just I like to read, and I don't have like a certain specific taste, I just like to read whatever I find interesting. So, for example, like I read a lot about Viktor Orban. He's another crazy dude in Hungary.
He is very present, yes.
He's mad.
He is very nationalistic.
Oh, yeah.
That is how they justify a lot of their actions.
Yeah. I mean, the fact is, like, they take patriotism and nationalistic the same thing. Like, no, idiot, it's not the same thing. They are two different. Being patriotic towards your country is a different thing, and being a nationalistic is a completely different thing.
On an interesting note, how did you find the Romanians, patriotic or nationalistic?
From my experience, to be very honest, as far as I remember, I think it was very neutral with me. I never had any kind of experience where people were just trying to show off like how great is Romania. The people were like very neutral. Like they were not trying to justify Romania, for example, or trying to find excuses for the shitty things that are there. So for me, it was very neutral. I never got into this conversation of getting to this point. Maybe because it's also, your age plays a very important role. I was very young. I was 18 years old, so I really didn't had much interest in this and in these kind of political topics. So I didn't really get into this kind of conversations, but it was more neutral. So we were never in this conversation of, oh, India is the greatest or Romania is the greatest,
I'm very sure you would have that conversation with some people, but...
I think I will have this conversation, because I think I will have this conversation when I will go back to Romania, Because now it's also the age factor, because, now I'm like grown up with more experience and like seeing things around. And maybe because, every time I go back to Romania, it's a very different experience for me. It's like different things happening. I do different things. I, meet different people and stuff. So I think when I will go back to Romania, it's not the if I will, because I will go back to Romania for sure for some time to visit my friends. If I will sit down and I won't initiate this conversation, but if somebody will initiate, yeah, I will be definitely up for it, because I did not do it before.
It will be a new experience.
Yeah, to discuss it on a more broader level, than just because right now, like, I've been living away from home in a foreign country for 2 years, and I traveled a lot in these times. In like last 5-6 years, I traveled a lot. I went to different countries, had different experience, met different people. So I'm really curious, how is Romania? Because now for me, Romania is just the people that I know there, just my friends. So that's all, cute and fluffy.
But when you get out of the bubble, then it might be different.
It might be different, and I'm really curious to experience it, because when I was in Romania, even when I was there with Isaac, I was with all these students. They are like super nice, they want to talk to me. I was with Isaac people. They want to talk to me. They want to show me around. They're not like they will not say anything bad to me, or they make fun of me or something like that. So that was just this, this bubble full of comfort, But right now, when I will go back to Romania, I know that it will be a very different experience, because I won't be associated with, I won't have those privileges. So this is why I really want to go back to Romania, to experience it in a different way, to see actually how was the reality right now,
What would you say to an international that is thinking of going to Romania?
Just do it. Trust me, I don't want to say anything more. Just do it. There's nothing There shouldn't be any doubts that should be holding you, because every country is different. Internet is full of shit. Don't believe it. The thing is, you never know when you will get an opportunity again to go to a country like Romania, Because, for example, even in India, like, France, Germany, Netherlands are like those big shots, famous countries, Italy, They're like those famous countries that everybody thinks of going, and if they couldn't go, they will try to go again for sure. But sadly, Romania doesn't come in that category, I'm sorry, but that's just the truth,
Although it is getting more attention from internationals in the last years.
Yeah, but I'm talking from more of the, from Indian point of view, like from a regular Indian point of view. People don't really, they know Romania, of course, and things, but it's not on their map,
It's not the Eiffel Tower.
No, yeah, exactly. It's not the Eiffel Tower. Oh, you have Arcul de Triumph.
Exactly, the Arc of Triumph.
Yeah. I've been to Paris like 2 times, and I never took picture in front of the Eiffel Tower because, come on, it's overrated.
For some people, it's a dream.
Their dreams are too weak. Sadly, they should dream bigger. They need to diversify. They need to, step out and not be like everybody,
That would definitely be the case if they decide to come to Romania.
Yeah.
And do you have any words of advice for people to make the best out of their experience in Romania?
I would say just do your best to blend in. Blend in, do not say no to the hospitality of Romanian people. For example, I met some people during my volunteership. Okay, I'm not saying that don't care about your religious views, because I'm not religious, so I don't care, I can eat anything or whatsoever. But there are some people like they're religious and their religion doesn't allow them. Of course, I'm not pushing you to do something that's against your religion or your religious practices, but there were like some people, like they were complaining about everything. Oh, I don't like vegetables, I don't like this vegetable, I don't like that, or I don't want to do this or something. Man, trust me, you're never gonna experience that again. Okay, maybe you will go back to the country, but you will never have that experience again. And it will be a shame. Just don't be a bitch. Just don't be a bitch. Very simplified. And if somebody doesn't understand this, God knows what they will understand. Yeah, what I mean by that is like, just live your experience. Do something that you have never done before.
And also because, indeed, you mentioned, for example, if they have some religious beliefs, they will not be able to eat pork, of course. But Romania is not only about pork.
Or drink alcohol, for example. No, it's not just about, or even drink alcohol. And that's completely fine, understandable. Nobody's going to push you to do that. But the experience in Romania doesn't end with pork and trica or palinka or timișorena, There's so much more to Romania. Like, there's like ciorba de pui, which is chicken soup. Then there's clătite, which is pancakes. And so much more. Oh my God, I can't even like summarize everything. I think we will just exceed this time limit of this podcast or something like that, because a lot of people, they just tend to judge like, alcohol, and that's all they have is alcohol and pork. No, that's not true. There's so much more. Make the best use of this time, because you will never gonna have this time back. You will never have this time again. Yeah, you can go back to Romania, sure, but you will never experience what you missed for the first time.
And also the country is changing pretty fast, so I would say that, yeah, seizing the moment is the best advice.
Definitely. Carpe diem.
Cool, so we are reaching our last minutes of the podcast. Do you have any special holiday messages for Romanians and for internationals that are currently in Romania?
Yes. Happy Christmas to all the foreigners and to Romanian people. And also, it's Paște Fericit, right?
No, that is the Easter one.
Oh, that is the Easter, yeah.
You really liked Easter. That's something that I can 100% confirm.
Because, I love the fact of painting those eggs,
If people want to experience the real deal about painting eggs in Romania, they should definitely come for Easter, and they should go to Bukovina, which is the northern and eastern part of Romania. They even have an Easter egg museum.
Really? Damn, that's cool.
Something for you to experience the next time.
Next time. As always, I will. Actually, I will come back because I've been thinking when I should come back because in January I'll be going to India for a while, and then maybe after that, yeah, maybe for Easter, so I can eat some eggs and sarmale with. Oh yeah,
Sarmale you will definitely get for Christmas as well. And a lot of food, guys. A lot of food.
oh, I'm so sure about it.
But the Panda Man, thank you so much for joining the Woanderers podcast.
All my pleasure. All my pleasure.
And to everybody out there, have a super delicious Merry Christmas. And thank you so much for joining us. And that's a wrap for episode 4 of Woanderers. From our home to yours, we wish you happy holidays, a lot of Romanian dancing bears in your life, and be healthy, wealthy, and wise in 2020. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Deezer, or any other apps of your choice. A very Christmassy thank you, mulțumesc, bye-bye, and la revedere! No, you should listen to Romanian carols during the season.